What's up, my channel? It's your friendly neighborhood sassy blonde writer coming at you with another writing video. Today we are talking about storytelling in musicals. Jazzy. For those of you who do not know, this is the definition of a musical or musical theater. A musical is any presentation in which a major part of the exposition and or action comes through the medium of song and usually dance too. There are a lot of things in this category, from Bollywood movies to book musicals to musical films to opera. So there's a lot of different things, there's a lot of different subgroups. However, despite all the different versions and variations and types of musicals out there, there are a lot of similarities in specifically how they tell stories and when to add the big musicals numbers and when to not. If you've watched any of my other videos, you probably know I love musicals. Frequently I've been referencing Wicked and Into the Woods quite a lot. There are many others that I talk about as well. So when I started making this channel, I think I said in my newbie tag that I wanted to talk about musicals and storytelling in this musical theater genre, because I don't think it's talked about that much on authortube or writertube, whatever this is. And somebody commented and said that they were really interested in that sort of thing, and then I just kind of never talked about it. One of the reasons why is because I debated back and forth on what would be the best way to discuss this, and also the easiest way to do that without getting into copyright issues. So I'm going to be mentioning a lot of different musicals as I go through this, and I'm going to link to clips from them, the different ones that I mentioned, down below. So if you want to check them out, I highly recommend that you do. They are some of my favorites that I'm going to be mentioning. So this is just going to be like a crash course in storytelling in musicals, and specifically how story beats in musicals work with regards to where songs fit in to the story. So this isn't going to be a video that is literally me telling you how to compose music for a musical, because that's not what this channel is, and that will be a lot to cover in just one video, where I'm also trying to talk about storytelling as well, so that would be a topic for another video for another time. Kind of like when I talked about story writing for video games, and I was like, I'm not teaching you how to code, that's not the topic of this video right now. Now that I have this disclaimer out of the way, let's dive on in. The story beats in a musical are pretty similar to how story beats in all writing are, but for musicals, the most powerful moments have to come through in a song. If they don't come through in a song, it's just a bad playlist. So there could be a lot of different moments in your story where it might be appropriate to have songs in a musical. I cannot stress this enough. The most powerful moments in a musical, most impactful moments, I'm going to talk about how to identify what those are in a little bit, have to be told through music. Otherwise, they're going to just fall flat. So the addition of music is often used to do the following to kind of get over the, I guess, boring bits of information in a way that is more entertaining than it would be otherwise. Sometimes the songs are used as a way of tell, don't show, to kind of get through things quickly so that way we can dramatize the more exciting moments. That is one of the functions a song can have in a musical, is to kind of just set everything up if it takes place at the opening, or it can be used for exposition. So for example, in a musical, you always have the big opening number. The big opening number always introduces the setting, the characters, and kind of sets up everything for the story. So an example of an opening song would be like the song Belle from Beauty and the Beast. They're literally singing about who Belle is, about the town, her relationship with the other people in the town. She's talking about how she's really bored living in the town, her relationship to her father, the townspeople think she's really weird. Who is this Gaston guy? The Gaston guy, he has the hots for Belle. She doesn't really look up from her book, so she doesn't really care about any of these people. So we get the gist of all of that through the song, and it's much more interesting to hear about it in a really cool song where there's all this back and forth between the characters and there's all this cool harmony and different instruments, rather than just having a narrator explain everything to us. An example of a song kind of going through exposition, or to explain a time jump in the story, or changes that happen in different characters' lives that just couldn't be done in a more time-efficient manner otherwise, would be like in the song After the War from Hamilton. So after the Revolutionary War, right before intermission. So they're kind of setting everything up. Hamilton has the baby at home. He becomes Secretary of the Treasury. Eliza's not too happy with him. Angelica, Schuyler's sister that he has the emotional affair with, moves off to England, so she's kind of far away now. Alexander Hamilton and Burr had like rival law practices before Alexander Hamilton became Secretary of Treasury. Kind of sets up their rivalry and how they stop becoming friends. So it's kind of setting up all that conflict for Act 2. It's a lot quicker than if they dramatized all of it. Another musical moment opportunity. The addition of music is often used to do the following in ways words alone cannot, would be to evoke atmosphere or mood in a musical. Phantom of the Opera does a really good job of this because the moment you hear the overture, you know, that little musical bit before the musical actually starts, you understand that this story is larger than life. It is a very grand story that is happening. There's this huge orchestral piece, and then you hear like a random electric guitar every now and then, so you know the electric guitar doesn't really fit into a regular orchestra, so you're kind of like, oh, some weird stuff's gonna be happening, I guess. Okay, good to know. Using the overture to do this, it kind of gets the audience in the mindset of the show and kind of preps them for what's gonna be lying ahead, especially musically. Also, a lot of times the overture is kind of used to give like a little sampling of what different melodies from different songs that are going to be coming up. Rodgers and Hammerstein do this a lot. Recognize the songs are just like, ooh, I know that one. Ooh, I know that one too. Ooh, I know that one. So it kind of gives you like a musical understanding of what's going to be happening in the show. One of the best modern musicals that does this would have to be Hadestown, which is my current obsession, if anyone was wondering. Because there are several moments in Hadestown where there are just no words spoken. Even in the musical, I'm not just talking about the overture, which is the part before the musical actually starts. In the middle of the musical, where they're just like walking around on stage, it's just the Fates singing or humming their harmonies, and the orchestra, that's all that's being played, that's all that's happening, and all you get is the atmosphere of what's happening, the tension of what's going on stage, captures the mood of the scene. You don't need anything else, you don't need words being spoken. Another reason for a musical moment would be heightened emotion, which I talked about at the beginning. Heightened emotion is when there's the most internal conflict or the most introspection. Where if it was traditional theater, there would probably be a monologue or soliloquy at that particular moment. Any type of heightened emotion. Somebody's freaking out, somebody's falling in love, somebody's really excited. Or it can also be two contrasting emotions, where somebody's really excited about something and somebody's kind of dreading something happening. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a solo, it can also be a duet. It can incorporate other characters, but if there is any type of heightened emotional state, there should be music in a musical. Another reason for a musical moment would be when there's something really big happening in your story, a really impactful scene. That is when something needs to be happening. So one example of this you could use is the duet between Cinderella and Prince Charming when they dance together at the ball. This happens in 3 different versions of Cinderella. It happens at the ball in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. It happens in Disney's Cinderella. And it happens, well, it doesn't happen at the ball in Into the Woods, but it happens after the ball when the prince is talking about how in love with Cinderella he is in Into the Woods. And it also happens in every single operatic version of Cinderella, where they are singing about how in love they are. Another musical moment to watch out for is when you could be using it to reinforce dramatic action. So whenever I think of songs that reinforce dramatic action, like just literally what's happening in the show, I think of the big chorus numbers. A lot of times in Rodgers and Hammerstein shows, you have the big chorus numbers, like Oklahoma, when they're singing Oklahoma, when the wind comes sleeping down the rain, Oklahoma, where they're waiting, we get sure it's well sweet, when the wind comes right behind the rain, Or what's the other one? Farmer and the cowman should be friends. Oh, the farmer and the cowman should be friends. So it's just reinforcing like what's happening in the story and like reinforcing the different themes. It's reinforcing the dramatic action. So it's like a big chorus number where everyone else in the cast is involved. It's also just reinforcing the dramatic action. Another example of a song that reinforces the dramatic action is any song where there is a villain or an antagonist and they're kind of revealing their evil plan. I think of songs like from Disney characters like Poor Unfortunate Souls by Ursula, or Be Prepared, which is what Scar sings in The Lion King. The reason why the villain's song where he goes through his evil plan highlights dramatic action is because, again, the villain's song highlights things you already know, gives you the villain's side and a peek into the villain's mind, and then tells you what the plan is, again, highlighting the dramatic action of either what's happening as the song is going on, or what's going to happen as soon as the song is over, or what's been happening before and now you know because the song is going on. Another example of reinforcing dramatic action would be a song where like one of the characters kind of has a mental breakdown on stage, which is always really fun to sing, by the way. Like the song I'm Breaking Down from Falsetto, where the mother literally like has a mental breakdown on stage as she's singing. That one's interesting because it's just telling you things that you already know happened, highlighting everything that's been happening so far, but it's kind of giving you like, this is how it's been affecting her. Another reason to have a musical moment in your musical is because you want to establish different voices, like unique voices in your musical. Each of your characters should have a different voice, if that makes sense. A different character voice. And it's easier to do when you're literally making the music. Like for example, in Hadestown, I'm going to use them again. Hadestown, each character set has their own different style of singing. Eurydice's style of singing is more of a beltery type of voice. Orpheus, on the other side of things, it has this like floaty tenor voice. Hermes, who's like the narrator of everything, kind of sings everything. And Persephone has this golden age of Broadway vaudevillian thing. At one point, she like literally, she just has a microphone, it's just her on stage, and she's just like going around the audience like, hey, come here often. And then Hades just has this loud booming voice. And then also the ensemble and the Fates also have their own different style of singing too. Each different grouping of the cast has their own different style, and that is highlighted in the music that they sing and that how it's represented in the score, and it's just, oh, it's so good. Another way you can use music to kind of highlight different character voices through the different styles you can use. That's all I've got for you today, folks, on storytelling through musicals. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you enjoyed it. If you have any favorite musicals that you think I should talk about more next time, please list them in the comments below. If you enjoyed hearing me just talk about how much I love musicals and how much random trivia I know about them that I got sloshing around up here, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and of course, happy writing.